catch some meat puppets!
Hello everyone, my name is Clay. Welcome to Terminally Nerdy from GuardianCon. Everyone got one. Psycho mask. Alright, so if you can't tell from the title, stay. This is going to be my GuardianCon vlog, and I wanted to preface the video here, kind of explain what you're going to see, and then let you know kind of how the whole video is going to play out. So, I went to GuardianCon yesterday, Saturday, July 6th, and I had an absolute blast. Absolute blast. A couple of things that I wanted to let everybody know if you weren't aware of it. So, GuardianCon's already decided on their next dates. It is going to be June 27th and June 28th in 2020. It's going to be at the exact same location, the Rosen Shingle Creek Hotel in Orlando, Florida. Tickets are already on sale. However, GuardianCon is rebranding. They will no longer be GuardianCon. They are now going to be the Community Gaming Expo. And honestly, after attending GuardianCon yesterday, I can see why they're going to do that, because while GuardianCon started a couple years ago, apparently 4, as a Destiny meetup, it's really kind of grown into something else now. While Destiny had a presence at the convention, obviously, and it was one of the biggest attractions, specifically because of what they were doing, and I'll get into that at the end of the video. Borderlands 3 was at GuardianCon and just as large. It had literally the same floor space as Destiny. Less computers, but the same floor space. Sea of Thieves had a similar area and even had a tournament there. The indie booth was fairly large and had, I want to say, like 5 or 6 indie games being shown off there. So it's not just Destiny anymore, which is part of why I went. I knew going in, I was like, okay, while I'm just getting into Destiny, I've been playing for about 2.5 weeks and, kind of dabbling. I'm really waiting for September for more content to be given free to people like me and to, pick up the expansions and everything. I was really interested in going for the indie games, Borderlands 3. Basically, I managed in that one day to do everything I wanted. I got to see some of the vendors, some of the artists, there was some cosplay, whole lot of stuff, but we'll get to that at the end. But I am totally going to be, hopefully both days this time, at the Gaming Community Expo in 2020, because it's 20 minutes from my house. It's right there. It's great. And I've heard rumors, and these are just rumors, that the hopeful goal eventually is to eventually become kind of a PAX for this region. Because really, as far as video game conventions go, the 2 closest ones are PAX East, which is up in fucking Philadelphia, Boston, that area, which in Florida, that's a good 2 days driving, or PAX South over in Texas. Everything else down in this region is anime, comics, movies, and a little bit of tabletop. We have DragonCon up in Georgia, but that's tabletop, anime, and comics. We have MegaCon here in Orlando once a year, usually around Memorial Day, but that is comics, TV, movies, and anime again. And I've been to MegaCon 9 years ago, and it has not changed from the people who went this year, and I've talked to them. So for video games and for video game stuff, this is what we've got, and I am 100% in on it. So, without further ado, I'm going to show you some footage of the show floor. There's going to be a spot kind of in the middle of this video where I'm going to give my thoughts on the indie games at literally 20 minutes after I played them, right before I went and got lunch. Some more footage. There's a little interview with my buddy from work who I ran into completely randomly at the convention. I had told him and a couple of others about the convention, and none of them had told me they were going to be there for sure. And then after I ate lunch, I went to the bathroom to wash my hands and ran into my buddy Lawrence, and me and him hung out the rest of the afternoon for 6 hours. It was great. He's a really good guy, and this was his first convention ever. So I have a little interview with him right at the end. And then we're going to have kind of my closing thoughts, my overall impressions, as well as my thoughts on Borderlands 3, because I did get to play it. So, without further ado, let's roll that beautiful bean footage. Hello everyone, my name is Clay, and you probably already saw the intro. So, Today, I'm at GuardianCon at Shingle Creek in Orlando. There's people walking behind my car. So, this is the first convention for this sort of thing I've been to, video game related. So, I'm going to take some footage, try to record my thoughts on any of the games I see. Borderlands 3 is here. I want to get hands-on with that. A buddy of mine from work was here yesterday. It was Friday and Saturday, and today is Saturday. Woo! I have no idea what I'm doing with this camera. I'm recording on my phone, so that's a thing. So there's going to be a lot of clips. I'm going to try to get some cosplayers. I have no idea how well the audio is going to pick up on this at all. So I'm here at like 10 o'clock in the morning. And this is kind of like an experiment to see how I handle Gen Con. Because Gen Con, I'm going to be there for fucking 4 days. And I need to kind of gauge how this is going to work. So, I've got my Saverick Gygax 316 shirt from So Nerdwear on. I'm going to go pick up my badge. I already paid for my ticket online and everything. So it's literally go in, show my online like barcode ticket. And then I should be good to go. So from this point forward, there'll be some clips of hopefully stuff from the convention floor, like the area outside, the floor, anything I can get, and hopefully some thoughts right after I do things like play Borderlands. The indie mega booth is here. I want to check that out. There's an indie game called Littlewood that I want to check out that's here. It's supposedly playable. There's a VR thing that's here, and I've never done VR, so that's going to be a thing. God help me. So, anyways, I'll see you guys then. Hello everyone. So, first little update for today. I got my badge. Woohoo! I've been here for about 2.5 hours, and with my badge came I got a mask. A Borderlands mask came with the badge. So far, I've gotten to play Control, which is by Remedy Games. I got to play that for like 20 minutes. And I also played Littlewood, and a fighting game called Origin of Storms. So, Control, I'm going to talk about first, is a third-person action game, and they describe it as a Metroidvania. and you're playing this woman who becomes this director of control, which is, I don't know, because like many demos, it starts off already partially into the game. I had to play with the controller, and I'm terrible with that. God. It was enjoyable. I'm curious. I'm very curious. The actual mechanics of the game that I saw were perfectly fine. Shooting was fine. Even with the controller, I was doing okay. The character has some sort of telekinesis. So, like, you can pick up objects, a lot of them, and then you kind of hold them next to you, and then you hurl them. So you end up using that to take out certain guys. Like, there were these guards in the demo with these overshields, and my gun was pathetic against them, and I actually died from a grenade. It's pretty funny. So I found that using the telekinesis and hurling an object at those guards killed them, just took them out. Whereas the rest of them, it had auto aim and stuff because aim assist. So the levels were sprawling. I was in some sort of maintenance tunnel, and it was this huge world, this huge open area, and you actually had to navigate using signs, like signage. So like, you need to go to the maintenance tunnel. So I'm like, okay, and I had to actually read signs and find my way to the maintenance tunnels. There was a bug where the quest marker didn't update at one point, so I couldn't find the security guard, so I ended up just wandering, and one of the guys had to actually come over and show me. But I actually am definitely interested in Control now. Definitely. I really want to see what it is, because it's like a third-person action game with a heavy emphasis on story. The voice acting was really good in it. There were some bugs with facial animations. At one point, the girl's face, like, because the main character's a girl, like, her jaw dropped and then, like, tilted to the one side. She was like, "Ow, ow, ow." Kind of funny. So that was one. I played Littlewood, and Littlewood is already on Steam Early Access for $15, and it's sort of a super casual, relaxing game. And the idea is that you're playing a character who saved the world. You already saved the world. You killed the Dark Wizard, and then you wake up in this town, and you're rebuilding after whatever kind of war happened. And what I found interesting was that the developer of that, his name's Sean, he's from here, he's from Orlando, which is awesome, and he's the guy who made Magicite, which I actually am aware of and I've actually played and I own. So that was really cool. And he was like, "What, you know Magicite?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've actually played it. Yeah, I know what that is." So he was really excited about that, and I had a really good conversation with him. He said the game's probably got about 10 to 15 hours of content in it right now. His price, like I said, is $15, and he's not going to raise it. He doesn't intend to make it go up outside of early access, which is good. He's developing it. He's got more ideas for town events and stuff. But it reminded me very much of Dark Cloud, in that your objective is to rebuild a town and make the townspeople feel good. So you don't fight. There's no combat, he said, at all. The entire game is rebuilding a town, placing down objects, decorating houses to the specifications of the townspeople, going on adventures with the townspeople to gather stuff in this procedurally generated forest or this procedurally generated mine, do bug catching, fishing, ton of stuff like that. It looks really, really cute, actually, and I'm totally going to do an indie impressions video on it, like 100%. That's happening. Probably after the SteamWorld, Dead Cells, and Vertical Drop Heroes HD. Those are the next three. So I'm probably going to do Littlewood after that. Which is really, really cool. And finally, there was a fighting game. And I've got the card for it. And it's pre-alpha. So I got a bunch of little cards and stuff. So it's this. Looks like this. And it's called, and you're going to read, it's called Origin of Storms, which is obviously backwards because thing. They're at _ Origin of Storms and Origin of Storms game. The _ Origin of Storms is Twitter, and Origin of Storms game is on Facebook. And they're a 2D fighter, so very similar to like Street Fighter and stuff. They only had one character playable, which is this female. It's got some sort of transformation mechanic where you turn into your dragon form and your damage gets doubled. Played really well, actually. I picked it up pretty quick, apparently, because I beat the developer at it. Had no idea what I was doing. None. Couldn't do any specials. It looked like there was going to be 7 characters playable based on elements. And the only one that was playable was the center one, which was lightning. So that's the thing. It actually looked really cool. They're another local developer, which is really awesome to see. So that is what's been happening so far. It is like 12:30. I'm probably going to go get some food. There's a little cafe where I can get some pizza or something, or sandwich. Not bad. One thing I'm really enjoying about this convention, at least at this hotel is ridiculous. They've got water stations, actually, like everywhere. Like not water fountains, like actual like a water cooler with plastic cups. That's how fancy this hotel, this place is sitting in. There's also, as you saw in the previous clips, there's like a whole arcade. There's this huge LAN area where you can just play PC games. My next goal is to probably go sit in line for Borderlands 3. The line for control was like 35-40 minutes. It was long, and it was one of the shorter lines. So, as a first con experience, it's not bad. My feet do hurt already. I'm breaking in my new shoes. Whatever. I really do like the fact that I got a free souvenir. That's cool. I'm totally going to take that with me to Gen Con and just run around going, "Time to get some meat puppets!" Or something like, "I am the commander of the poop train!" Or other such nonsense. It's going to be great. Great. Anyway, guys, I'll see you in a little bit. I'll try to get some more like con floor footage. And yeah. Oh, and they obviously had security. That's fine. As far as a first convention goes, it's been pretty good. Let me see. So what else did I get? I got a sticker, which is cool. Littlewood sticker. It looks cute. It looks cute. I actually really like the look of Littlewood. I am definitely going to be playing that. I'm super excited. The guys who are making Origin of Storms are part of Burnout Game Ventures, which is apparently like a venture capitalist investment company. Here's Burnout Game Ventures, which apparently are trying to set things up here in Orlando. Well, they're located in Winter Park, which is still part of Orlando. And then, of course, Littlewood, which is really cool. Like, I am really... Yeah, he's done, what's this? Magicite. God, this is hard to read. I need to talk to him about doing green on green. I cannot actually fucking read this. Wraith Slayer, Kindergarten, Roguelands, and Magicite. So, there's also still that VR Battle Royale game. I'm not sure I'm going to do that. There's Beat Saber, though. In the playable arcade area, there's 2 Beat Sabers. So that's really cool. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll see you guys then. Catch you in a bit. Hey everyone. Alright, so I got my buddy Lawrence here from work. And this is his first convention ever, apparently. And he showed up, which surprised the crap out of me, because we ran into each other in the bathroom after I finished lunch, which is dumb.
Right, yeah. We had talked about going, but had a couple of chaps bail on us, so I ended up going solo and ran into Clay. So here we are.
So, what did you like what you saw? What stood out to you?
Just the amount of people that all have kind of a common interest in games and are just so friendly, striking up random conversations and friendships with people as you go along, because you all have this one reason that you're here, this one interest. And aside from that, the other thing that I took away was the indie games. We kind of have this mindset sometimes where we hear indie and we think it's like a different type of game or a different type of quality, but the gap is closed, in my opinion, as far as the quality and the content that the indie developers and some of the programming houses are putting out right now. I was really blown away by Control. That's going to be fantastic. I've been raving about it since I did the 20-minute demo earlier. I need to have that game. That is going to be killer. So I'm pretty excited for that. But yeah, first con was definitely fun. Absolutely be doing it again. And,
hopefully next year we both can come up here for the 2 days.
Yeah. The next time I do a con, I'm definitely going to have to get a whole weekend pass and make a whole big extravaganza. But yeah, it was a great time.
So what did you think of Borderlands 3? It's your first time playing Borderlands at all?
Yeah, it was my first 20 minutes on any Borderlands ever. It was fun. It had some challenges as far as some of the weapons. Different weapons act differently, so that was nice. The enemies were unique in their design. Yeah, it was fun.
And you played as the guy who makes the duplicate.
Yes. Yep, and that ability came in super handy at one point, so yeah, I'll definitely see myself.
Did you manage to kill the boss?
No. I didn't actually get there. I spent a lot of time just kind of
wandering around.
Yeah, wandering, exploring, kind of figuring it out. So, but yeah, I could definitely see myself playing Borderlands 2 in anticipation for number 3.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Lawrence. All right, we'll add this to the vlog thing, and the next clip after this will be my final thoughts, which I'm recording tomorrow while my legs recover. So,
right, yeah.
I think we're both about to head out into this wonderful Florida weather.
Yeah.
All right, we'll catch you on the flip side, everybody. All right, so there you go. And pardon the quality of all of that. I was recording it with my cell phone. Littlewood is awesome. But my cell phone is an LG Stylo 3 Plus. It's not the greatest camera in the world. I've also never done anything like this, so while I thought I was kind of panning slow, apparently I'm panning a lot faster than I thought I was. So that was kind of unexpected. So, let's start with Borderlands 3. Because that was the very last thing that we did, and then we went and did some vendors. We bought some Funko Pops for another guy who wanted to be there from work that we both know. His name's Julio. Unfortunately, he had some family business, and he couldn't make it. Julio, you missed out. It was fucking fantastic. And that is the truth here. This convention, as my first ever video game convention, was phenomenal. It was quick to get through security. There were 2 different security checkpoint entrances, so you didn't get bottlenecked. When I walked in, the first thing you guys kind of saw in the footage, there was a huge freaking free play arcade. It was just the entire length of that ballroom, arcade machines. And you could just play them, retro consoles. There was a couple of Beat Saber VR stations, so if you wanted to do the Beat Saber thing, you could. Although the idea of wearing a VR headset that's not getting cleaned... once you got into the ballroom, which you see, I think, in like the second or third clip, there was an entire, probably 40, 50, 60 PCs that was just a LAN play area. You just walk up, you tell the guys you want to play, They assign you a computer, you sit down, you sign into Steam, you sign into GOG, you sign into all these things that are pre-signed in, really. And you can just play games. They had a bunch of indie games, they had a bunch of stuff like PUBG and Fortnite and just all of it. Counter-Strike, they had Discord, you could sign into your Discord account, I suppose, and talk to your buddies and actually use the headsets and play if you just wanted to hang out with your buddies and play on a LAN. It was fantastic. Right next to that area were the indie games. Like, there was the computer area was like here. Like, entrance comes in here. Computer area is to the right. Vendors are all in that kind of area. And then right above the computer area were all the indie games. So I played Control, as I said. I played Littlewood. I played Origin of Storms. I did not get to play the other fighting game that was on the other side of Origin of Storms. I also got to really sit down and talk to Rupert, I believe, from Burnout Game Ventures. Really nice guy. He's really passionate about the Indian games, so I really like that dude, actually. I didn't try out the VR Battlegrounds, but that had an actual line, and people seemed to be really into it. So, but just watching that made me go, I'm going to get motion sick if I try that, so I am not. And then I met up with Lawrence, and we went, and he wanted to see all the indie games. That was what Lawrence was like, I want to see the indie games. So I took him to Control. He fell in love with that game. He had no idea what it was, much like me. Sat down, he played it for the 20-minute demo limit. I got him a shirt. They didn't have any in my size, so I asked them if they could give the shirt that they were going to give me to him. Because they had a spot where you could actually sign up if you were a content creator, like I am. And apparently they might get in touch with you and like set up stuff and things. I hope they do. I would love to review Control. I really want to play Control. Straight up, for the entire convention, that was the hidden gem stealer of the show for me. In those 20 minutes, I want to play that game. I need to know what the fuck is going on with that weird shit. The dialogue was great. It was buggy. It was, a demo build. Funniest thing in the world that happened to me, and I told them, was during the one conversation I got into with the janitor, who was like Eastern European and all sorts of weird as shit. The main character's jaw goes, and like tilts off this way while she's talking, so like the bottom and top jaws are like off. It was bizarre. Origin of Storms was actually a lot of fun for a fighting game. It's got a lot of work to do in the sense that they need to add the other characters, but actually it was completely playable. Like, fully functional. What they seem to have done was they said, we're going to make one stage, one character, get that one character working, get the game working, and then we'll add to it. And that's kind of what they did. And if a guy who does not play fighting games, this guy, could beat one of the developers and then beat my buddy Lawrence, who actually understands fighting games and was using terminology like, the footsies game and the, you got to get in there and get in the neutral position and the dodge. I'm like, I have no idea what any of that means. I push the buttons. But I managed to beat both of them, so. So it seemed like one of those games that was easy to pick up, but there was some depth to it because they had two other guys were like hanging around the booth because they were really into it. And they were like showing off. Like they had figured out the move list. They were doing like supers and the whole thing. And it was like, you go, okay, so you got this dude over here who's like spamming buttons. These two were doing actual shit. Littlewood was awesome. The developer for Littlewood, Sean, he's from here. He's from Orlando. And I kind of blew him away apparently when I told him I knew what Magicite was. Because I asked him if he had done any other games. Because Littlewood, I had heard about it on Twitter. He's like, oh yeah, I've done a couple games, and he names off, and then he says, and I did Magicite, that was my first one, and I said, I've played that, and he actually stopped, dead in his tracks, and went, you played Magicite? I was like, yeah, got my ass beat, but I played it. He was like, oh wow, yeah, he's like, it's a buggy game. But, yeah, so we did all that, me and Lawrence. We spent a lot of time talking to the Origin of Storm guys. We spent a lot of time talking to the Burnout guy, just chatting about indie games and the G2A bullshit and all that stuff. And even Rupert was saying, like, He got screwed. A couple of the games that his company has worked on is on G2A, so... Energy drink. And then we went and tried Borderlands 3. Now, I've played Borderlands 1 and beaten it. I've played Borderlands 2 and I've beaten it. I'm a casual fan of Borderlands. I'm not the guy who's put in the hundreds and hundreds of hours like my buddy Virus has. I've put in, like, I think 30 or 40 in 1 and like 60 to 70 in 2, and I'm basically done. Because there's a lot about the games that kind of irritate me. Then I played Borderlands 3. Fuck me, that game is good. So allow me to explain. So the demo for Borderlands 3 is 20 minutes long. You pick one of 3 characters. You can't pick Flak. Flak the Beastmaster was not implemented. It was the other 3 options. I picked the Siren. Amara, I believe is her name. Because she looked like this tanky, angry big woman. I love her model. So I went for her. My buddy Lawrence, first time he's ever played any Borderlands, and he picked the older guy who can do the duplicates from the trailer, the soldier character. The guys explained the demo. They said, you're going to start with some skill points, immediately go into your skill tree, spend your skill points. They said, don't explore, just try to get to the end and kill the boss if you can. You got 20 minutes. And we were playing on a controller, and I don't play first-person or third-person action games on a controller. I play with a mouse and keyboard. I had the same problem with Control, is that it was on a controller, and I am terrible with this. And yet, somehow I actually managed to get to the end and kill the boss. With like 2 minutes remaining, I think. I think they came over while I was fighting the boss and gave me the 5-minute warning, which was pretty funny. So, a couple big changes. So in Borderlands 1 and 2, each character had one action skill. So if you were playing as, say, Mordecai in Borderlands 1, you could summon the bird. If you were playing as the soldier guy, I think it's Axton, in Borderlands 2, you summoned a single turret. Borderlands 3, every skill tree has its own action skill. They are variations, but they're unique. So, for example, Amara, her 3, and you pick one and you get to equip one, but I think you can learn all 3. But her 3 were a ground pound, which you might have seen in the trailer. She jumps up and 6 arms appear and she just punches the ground. That's one. But she also has Maya's Phase Lock, where you summon a fist and it grabs an enemy and just holds them. Or, the one that I chose and used the crap out of, she shot 6 fists like a missile straight ahead, and they spiraled out and just went straight forward. That was the one I picked. And then the tree under that seemed to be the elemental tree, so it had stuff like elemental chance for like shock and things. That was one big change, is that you actually have a choice in how you want the action skill to play out. So I'm curious how the guy with the duplicates, the other gunslinger girl, and Flak are gonna work out. In addition to that, they had passive modifiers. So once you spent a certain number of skill points in the skill tree, you can learn a modifier that modifies the action skill. So in my case, I killed enough dudes and got enough levels to put 5 points in the tree that I was spending on with the fist missile. And the passive that I got made it to where the fist missile healed me for a percentage of the damage it dealt. And it looked like I could equip eventually 2 of those passives, because they had a little box off to one side where you could do that. Makes me wonder if I could go into the other trees and get their passives and mix it with this one's active and come up with weird combos. So that was really cool. Visually, it is beautiful. Just fucking fantastic. It looked, felt, and sounded like Borderlands. The humor was there. The characterizations were there. The funny quips and the enemies were all there. But everything just looked way better. Like, Borderlands 2 is not a bad-looking game. It's cel-shaded, but Borderlands 3 is, like, clean cel-shading. So, like, they still have the very bold lines on the outlines and things, but everything is much more defined and clean and clear. The boss fight was a trip and a half. So, you're kind of fighting like I guess he's like a cultist of the female villain, and she at one point references making YouTube videos and streaming and all sorts of weird shit, and he's like ranting about how everyone needs to consume her content. It's ridiculous. But as you're making your way through his base, there are huge speakers that will blow out at you. Like, they give a warning, like, whoa, 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 boom! Well, when you fight him, he's in a room with those kind of speakers bordering the room. 4 pillars and him, and he's got a big old shield that has an equalizer on it. It is the most... And at random points, he'll go immune, and a spotlight will come on, and he'll start, like, dancing. It is the most ridiculous fight I have ever played. It was great. The weapons I started with were a elemental machine gun, and it did really well. And then a shotgun. And what was funny about the shotgun is I don't remember what weapon manufacturer it is, but I think it's the Torador, the cheap one. So the idea was every time I reloaded it, I threw the old one, and it detonated, spread 6 more grenades, and summoned missiles. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely just insane. I actually beat the last boss by going shot, 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 reload, shot, 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 reload. I would just constantly like shoot once or twice on the boss and then reload and huck the fucking shotgun at his head. Grenade mods seemed more varied. The one I had, I would throw the grenade and everywhere it bounced, it left a sticky bomb. So the grenade itself wasn't the damager. It left proximity sticky bombs no matter where it hit. So, like at one point I threw it and it went bounce, bounce, hit the side of a building and bounced over here, and it was prox mine on the side of the building, prox mine over here. Like, it's basically everything that was Borderlands 2, only cleaner, clearer, and more options is what it felt like. So, as much as Randy Pitchford irritates the shit out of me, I will probably pick up Borderlands 3 when it hits Steam. It's just that much fun. I'm not going to, like, review it or anything. That's my stuff is non-AAA, and that feels and looks like a AAA game. So, overall, it was a ton of fun. It was an absolute blast. Lines were a little crazy. I think it was more popular than they expected. The Destiny line was ridiculous. Like, I didn't even get to get the coin. So the way Destiny was working was if you went through their line and played their Crucible, you got a coin just for trying. And then if you went back through the line, you could turn in the coin and play, I think, Gambit. Might have been Crucible, one of the two. It was one of the PvP things. And if you won, you got a medal that was like this. So you got a coin that was like this, or a medal, which was much larger. But you had to trade in your coin to get your medal. And because of this, the one time I thought about going in their line went around their demo area, and they had like 70 computers. It was ridiculous. It was like fucking like tuna. Like, you're packed into this thing. It went around their demo area, down, around, all the way out of the convention ballroom, all the way down to the security desk. And I heard the volunteers, and this was about 5 o'clock is when I walked by this, because I had to run to the bathroom and come back. The volunteers were actually telling people in that section that they were in Group 3. Group 2 is going to have a 2-hour wait. Group 3 may not even get to play. So it was like the Destiny line was ridiculous. Control, the line wasn't too bad, actually, because people just didn't know what Control was, I guess. Which is a shame, because I was telling people you need to go play Control. Borderlands, the line wasn't too bad in the afternoon. In the morning, it was just like the Destiny one. It was fucking around the fucking place. So I waited. When I got in there, I probably waited 2 rotations total. So 40 minutes. Thankfully, the Borderlands and the Destiny ones were within eyeshot of the huge stage. So I got to watch like Apex Legends and Sea of Thieves playing and stuff. So I am definitely, as long as the Community Gaming Expo, aka what was once GuardianCon, is good, that's probably going to be my convention every year. I hope to see more indie devs. I want to see more indie devs. I want to see more big names. I just want to see more stuff. I want to see them outgrow the Rosen Shingle Creek Hotel, because they had one ballroom, just one. It wasn't a huge convention hall, honestly. I felt bad for the Warframe devs. They were actually on the other side of the security checkpoint, upstairs, away from everything. And nobody really seemed to go over there. I went over there once. There was like 2 other guys in there, and nobody seemed to give a shit. I felt really bad about the Warframe guys. Because everything was downstairs on the one side of the security, not on the outside. So, also lunch was surprisingly good. It was like they had they had a room where they were just selling like sandwiches and pizzas and stuff from the hotel room service, I guess. But the sandwich I got was like that fucking thick. The meat was like this. The bread was like... It was ridiculous. It was $12 for that sandwich, a bag of chips, and a soda. And I got full. I ate that at like noon, and I was not hungry until like 7. So, anyway, I had a blast at GuardianCon. If you're in this area, if you're looking for a new gaming convention to visit, I heartily recommend it. Although, again, it's now Community Gaming Expo. They even have a website you can go to. It is GC, the letter X, event.com. So check it out. Tickets are already on sale. I heartily recommend it. I'm going to go next year. Hopefully both days. And hopefully more indies, more everything. I hope it gets bigger. There's a lot of potential here, and I want it to succeed. Anyway, as always, if you like what I'm doing, feel free to hit the like button. Please subscribe to my channel for more indie impression videos, more vlogs. I'm going to do one when I go to Gen Con. It's probably going to be similar to this one, but a lot longer, because I'm going to be at Gen Con from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's a long time. So that'll be coming after Gen Con. But as always, thanks for watching, and remember, everybody, stay nerdy.